Hi, I'm Ryan Crosby. I'm going to show you today how to sync or add a T-nut to your Ride Custom back shell. So there might be a variety of reasons you need to add a T-nut in the shell. You might have cut back the lateral, you're going to add a new T-nut, or you're adding a maybe abdominal panel. But I'm just going to show you how to add one of those in the black shell, and it could be for any reason. Let me separate these. The first thing you need to do is trim away the foam or this mesh liner. You're going to trim the tape so that you can peel that mesh liner out of the way. I'm just going to be adding a T-nut to this right lateral, so I'm just going to separate this. You really need to pull this mesh material back quite a ways out of the way because you don't want to inadvertently melt or heat this mesh liner. So once you trim the tape, you should be able to peel this back pretty easily. Back out of the way like that. And I'm just going to, just because I can, add a little tape to hold this material back out of the way. Just kind of something like that. Okay. Now I'm going to put these shells back together, and normally you'd have one side that lines up, so I'm going to, and I'm replacing the opposite side, so I want to line up the left side T-nut, make sure that's going to fit properly. And then on this other side, I'm going to drill through the outer shell and through the inner shell. Take my 1/4 inch drill bit, and normally with the laterals, if we're adding a new T-nut, we'd want that T-nut to be about 1 inch from the distal edge and approximately halfway between the top and the bottom. I'm just going to arbitrarily pick a spot here. It'd be the same technique. And just drill right through both shells. Okay. Now I'm going to separate those two shells again. Set that off to the side. And grab a new T-nut. You can reuse an existing T-nut, but you do need to heat it up just a little bit and push it out of the shell after you heat it up. Because if you try to just force it out of the shell, it could crack the shell. So I'm going to use a new T-nut. And the new T-nuts have a gloss finish on it. What I'm going to do is heat that up until that gloss finish turns a matte finish. I'm using a screwdriver. This is just a Phillips head screwdriver that we ground the tip down on so that this T-nut will fit nicely over the top and it removes easy. Doesn't get stuck on the end of the tool. Okay, grab my torch. You could use a heat gun on this if you'd like. It'll take just a bit longer. So I'm just going to heat this up till I see that gloss finish change. Only takes a few seconds. And there we go. Set that down. Now lift your back support up. You don't want to drop the T-nut off the end of your tool. And push that through the hole that you've got there. And you want to push it till it sinks in right into the plastic and then stop. There's usually a little bit of melted plastic that I had to kind of push over the top of the edge of the T-nut just so that it kind of locks it into place. You do need to be careful not to force it too far because you could technically, if you heat up the T-nut too much, push that all the way through the shell. So just stop right when it sinks into that plastic. All right, I'm going to let that cool because I don't want to put my mesh material over a hot T-nut. And while that's cooling, I'm just going to take that outer shell that I have. I'm going to countersink that hole that I drilled through the shell. Because we use flathead screws to hold these shells together, so we need to bevel those edges. Take your countersink bit and there you go. Once you countersink that, now all I have to do is take your mesh material and retape it back to the edge. And you might need to add a little bit of spray glue to hold that back into place. But once it's back in place, you just take little 2-inch strips of tape and go back and tape those back onto the shell. Start from the inside, pull the tape over to the outside, and that way it'll hold that and kind of create a bullnose effect with that 3D mesh. And then you're all set. You can put your shells back together with your cover. and put your new screws in. That's how you sink a T-nut into a back shell with 3D mesh liner. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.